We welcome to the Only Fools and Horses podcast, Andree Bernard. How's it going?
It's going really well, Chris. Thank you for having me.
No problem. AKA Nervous Nerys.
Yeah.
So tell us about Dates, because that's probably the most famous episode that you starred in.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, isn't it astonishing that something that I made 34 years ago now is still repeated endlessly and loved by so many, which is such an honor. I mean, I was 21, one of my first major TV jobs. Little did I know that Nerys would still be going strong all these years later.
Yeah, she's a great character, actually. I think she could have been in more episodes as well.
Oh, wouldn't that have been lovely? I know. John was very kind to write me into more. But my goodness, yeah, I mean, the legacy of Only Fools, it would have been amazing to have been in more. But I do love the fact that even though it's a smaller role, everybody knows her and she's remembered. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, there's so many funny moments. But for me, I love the moment where you're introduced on the date and Rodney's like, do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? And you're like, no, I can't. I just had my dinner. No, I don't fancy the pictures.
Just had my dinner.
Yeah.
Did you draw on someone for that role? Because it's completely different from yourself, Andree. Was there a particular person you had in mind when you were doing Nervous Nerys, or?
Well, no. Because what actually happened when I auditioned, I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually went to audition for Cassandra. That was the part that I went in for.
Didn't know that.
And so I walked into the room, and there's Tony Dale, the director, John Sullivan. I read for Cassandra. There was this silence. They looked at each other, and John Sullivan just went, "Now, don't see you as Cassandra at all. But hang on a minute." Delves into his bag, and he pulls out a script, which is clearly his own script because it's got notes on it. And he says, "Have a gander at this, love. Can you hang around, have a read of this, and come back in?" So I sat out in the corridor at BBC Centre with this script, and she was just called Nerys at that point, but all the way down the side, John's notes were, "She's really nervous. She's incredibly nervous. Oh my God." So I was reading his handwriting, his big biro, and thinking, well, clearly she's really nervous. Went back in, read a couple of the scenes, and there was these big beaming smiles, and then John Sullivan went, "I know I'm not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do this in the room, but Tony, we've got to have her in our show." And that was kind of it. It was that quick.
Wow, brilliant. So what a shame. So you could have been Cassandra then. That's the first I knew about that.
Oh, it was just like many people auditioned, I'm sure. You know, Gwyneth was fantastic. I wasn't right, but it was how lovely. And it's very rare that you go in for something you're not right for, but actually, you know, the writer and the director go, "But actually, we'd love you in this. What about this?" So, but to answer your original question, Chris, it wasn't pulling on anything. It was actually kind of going on the notes that John had said, and I made them laugh in the audition. And John just went, "That's it, it's great, just go with that, just go with that." So it was kind of organic.
That's great. And of course, when you were mentioning you went in for Cassandra, also Liz Hurley went in for Cassandra as well.
Did she? I didn't know that. I know a lot of people went in, you know.
But she was seen as being too attractive for Rodney. So maybe that's the reason you didn't get the part as well.
Oh gosh, flattering, I'll pay you later.
Yeah.
So with Nerys, is that one of your best roles, you would say? I mean, it was a small role, but I mean, people will always remember it, won't they?
They will. I mean, when you say best roles, I mean, there's things that are different for different reasons, and so many jobs that I've loved doing. But the love for Only Fools and Horses is incredible. I mean, the fan base and the support and the love of everybody is like no other show I've experienced. I mean, it even kind of like trumps the Doctor Who fans and the sci-fi people and all that kind of stuff. So to have that, when I say that love coming out, I mean that genuinely. The fans are amazing. The conventions are fun. But actually, even people within the cast, you know, up until sadly John Challis's demise, you know, having this close contact with people in the cast all these years later, because we keep on meeting up and everything, it genuinely does kind of feel like being a small part of a wonderful family. That doesn't happen all the time with jobs. And it's one of those things that at the time, I didn't appreciate how amazing that would be. And then, as I say, 34 years later, it's like, oh my goodness, it's just the job that keeps on giving. It's amazing.
Because a lot of people don't, well, a lot of people know, but a lot of people don't know that you're in Sickness and in Wealth as well, Andree, weren't you, that episode as well?
Yeah, Lagers off.
Yeah, Lagers off, yeah.
Which I think was one that John wrote me into that, because he said, I want to see more of Nerys. So I've literally got, you know, John Sullivan to thank for all of it, really, quite honestly. The reason that I was in it and how she turned out and what has happened, you know. I do know that John loved that Dates episode. I think he often mentioned rather wonderfully that it was, I think, his favourite episode. Maybe he just said that to me.
It's one of my favourites, definitely. Yeah. It's definitely up there. Is it up there for you, Chris?
It is, Chris, and I was just, it is definitely top 5. And one thing that adds to that as well is, of course, the musical is based on the episode Dates, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, it's what the dating agency and things, which is that episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hence why it's called Dates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it probably is one of John's favourites, because he sort of expanded that into the musical. I think he'd wrote the musical before he sadly passed away, and then Paul Whitehouse has took it on, hasn't he?
Right. I didn't know. I don't know too much about the history of how the musical came about. But yeah, I mean, that script, it's just amazing, isn't it? The whole thing is just, it's wonderful. Always makes you laugh. Always makes me laugh.
Yeah, and you're involved in one of the funniest moments in the Trotter van, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the car chase and the jumping?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I'd love to say that was me doing that, but
but your face after it all happens, I mean, that's just
it was genuinely so much fun to shoot that. All of that location stuff we did in Bristol, and that was all done pre-recorded before we did all the live studio stuff, and it was an absolute blast. The whole thing from beginning to end, the crew, everybody was just so into it, and I just remember laughing all the time and actually being told off for laughing as well when I shouldn't have. It was hard to keep a straight face watching Nick do that amazing cigarette stuff with the window.
Do you know when there's I don't know if this is true, you know, when they do an interior shot, Andree, is it like a van with the front chopped off, you know, when you're actually in the van, or are you actually sitting in a proper van and they're filming through it, or is it like chopped off at the front?
No, we had a proper van. We were on a low loader, so you know, it's like a low truck. So somebody is driving it and we're up high, so it's shot in with cameras stuck on like kind of the bonnet of the car shooting in. But all of that stuff in the interior of the car, it was literally in that tiny space with a camera coming through the window, and me having to go right down in the footwell to get those shots at the end. So no, there was nothing as grand as a stunt car. It was literally like this. Yeah.
Was that one that went over the ramp there, or the bridge? That must have been ruined, that one, surely, wasn't it? I know they used about 10 in the end, didn't they, vans in the series?
Yes, they did, and they obviously had stunt people doing that. Great shot that they got there. I think part of that was really clever in choosing the location that they did it and the angle that they had the cameras, but you're absolutely right. It did take, it took a few shots to get that one done.
Yeah, and the roof rack actually rocks off, doesn't it? Comes up actually off the, and then it all transpires at the end. Del Boy thinks that the policewoman's another strippogram, and he gets arrested, doesn't he? Of course, yeah.
And you were saying you were laughing a lot on set. Was it the other actors, but sort of on the last podcast we did, they were saying like in between the shots they were playing jokes on each other. Was it a bit like that, or were you just laughing at this? Yeah,
constantly. I mean, in the studio, you know, the old BBC studio as was, which I think is now Luxury Flats, but that wonderful building. Obviously, all of the sets for the various rooms in the house in Nag's Head, they're all side by side. And I mean, Ken MacDonald would be winding up John Challis, who'd be winding up David Jason. It was just so funny to watch them. They were so relaxed and so brilliant at what they did, that it just made everybody relax and laugh. The location stuff, I've got to be honest, I mean, I was so in awe of Nick, you know, of Nicholas Lyndhurst. That was one of the huge excitements for me when I got the job, having loved butterflies and stuff, you know, and Only Fools. Working with him, he just an utter genius, because he's kind of so low key, and not at all grand in real life or anything. And then he just inhabits Rodney in such a, it's just so endearing that, and funny. It's just amazing. It's just kind of like, you know, he really is that good. Every single take, just amazing and a bit different and whatever. It was just kind of going with stuff. It was brilliant.
David and Nick work so well, don't they? Because they're such opposites. David's one very lively, isn't he, and jumping about the place. And Nick says that I used to just sit there because if we're both jumping about a bit, the camera wouldn't pick us both up. So they just complemented each other brilliantly, didn't they? A brilliant double act.
Yes. Yes, I hadn't actually thought of that, about his stillness. But yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the magic of the show, I think. That beautiful chemistry between people that, however brilliant the script is, you can't fake that. That's either there or it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's, to me, one of the classic partnerships in the whole of British TV. They just go together, don't they? You can't, it's, you know.
Dilber and Rodney, yeah.
Yeah.
And with Nicholas, he's just as funny as Sir David, isn't he? Sometimes he doesn't get as much credit as Sir David, but I think he should.
I totally agree. I mean, as I said, I think Nicholas is a genius. Part of it is he's a private person and has kind of taken a different route with stuff, which I totally respect him for. But everything he's ever done, I just think is brilliant. As I say, going back to butterflies and stuff, I loved that.
He did Good Night, Sweetheart as well. That was
Good Night, Sweetheart. Yeah, yeah, and some
one.
terrific stage stuff, and you know, great guy, really lovely. Taught me a lot.
He does a great scene in Good Night, Sweetheart that references Only Fools and Horses. There's a bar latch open, isn't there, in Good Night, Sweetheart? And he's drunk, Nick is in his character, and he looks at the bar door up and he goes, no, as if to say,
oh, really? That's brilliant. I didn't know that. I'll have to look that up. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Oh, I love references like that. That's terrific.
Yeah, I just went, no, as if to say, I'm not as daft as David, sort of thing. Yeah, so it's quite good. So Christmas Day 1988, when it was broadcast, can you remember how you're feeling? You must have been nervous knowing that 20 million people would be watching.
Do you know, yes, but my overriding feeling at the time, if I'm honest, Chris, as I say, I was 21, and I've been cast in this wonderful, funny, loved comedy show that was like the big thing that was on at Christmas. I was so excited by actually being on the telly in something that people were actually going to see. And yes, of course, it's that note thinking, goodness, I hope it comes out all right. I hope I'm good enough. I hope, but it was the excitement of actually being part of something so wonderful, actually, was the biggest thing, you know. And there is obviously, you know, at that point, that joy of when at the BBC you did the rehearsals, you have the live studio audience, you can feel and see and hear the reaction that's genuine. You know, it's not about piped in laughter and everything being faked. It, you know, you could feel it in the same way as if you're doing a theatre show and you can sense the audience are loving it. You could really sense that when recording Fools, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and also you was 21, wasn't you? So you probably had no fear as an actress, did you, back then?
There is that. I think we're all a little bit bolder when we're younger. And you go, yes, this is what I do. Yes, this is it, you know. And then you look back and go, oh my goodness. But yeah, brilliant memory.
It's true sometimes, Andree, that they had to do a couple of takes twice because the audience laughed that so much first time round that they had to do a second one, so the laughter had just sort of died down a little bit. Yeah,
it was actually that thing of the laughter being so spontaneous and so loud and going on for so long that it would kind of having to pause the action for something to actually happen, or someone taking a cue to come through a door and it's too soon because of the laughter. Just extraordinary. Yeah, there were those things that happened indeed.
Yeah, we first heard about that with the episode where they go to Spain and Rodney has to pretend he's 14. Do you remember that one? From Mike Fenton Stevens. He told us about that. The laughter was so great that they had to say, oh, we had some technical issues, so we got to do it again. But of course it was because they were laughing too much.
Yeah, it was, these things happened a lot. Mike's fabulous, Mike Fenton Stevens and Philip Pope. There's another couple of people that I'm in touch with still, and, you know, it's lovely.
Tell us about the, I wish I'd gone, but I live in Crewe, but the Only Fools and Horses at Nag's Head pop-up last year for the 40th anniversary, Andree. Was that for UK Gold, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that, gosh, there's lovely people at UK Gold. That was fabulous, actually, because they actually took a pub in East London and dressed it. It absolutely was like walking on set. The floor, the walls, everything. They'd done such a brilliant job on recreating it. And they got myself and Gwyneth and Philip Pope. And we went along and did some press and PR and some stuff. But we all just walked into this place and just went, it was just bizarre, especially since all the production team on UK Gold that were working on it were all so young that they wouldn't even have probably been alive when we did it. And it was just so accurate. You go, oh my God. And you kind of go, oh, and they would like, we're all fans, you know. It was, it was brilliant. And then apparently I think they had the pub open for several nights offering drinks at 1988 prices.
Yeah, I was
so
going to
I
say
heard,
that. I would have enjoyed that.
83p a pint, apparently. 83p.
Isn't that extraordinary?
Wow.
Yeah, but it took me right back because, you know, things like, you know, the stuffed duck and the animals and the things behind the bar. And I went, gosh, the attention to detail by these guys is brilliant. They did a really, really good job with that.
I think
and that was all for them getting the rights for the show and doing a big thing for the birthday. And it was absolutely, that was terrific fun.
They even had a cigarette machine, didn't they? Which you never see in pubs anymore.
I know. We all looked at it like that. It's like, oh my goodness. Yes. They're the things that make you feel like really old when you start seeing stuff like that and go, yeah, things have changed a bit since then.
Yeah.
And they had all the original beer mats, you know, those dreadful unsanitary beer mats and whatever. It was just brilliant. Tiny space, but it was done so well. It was very impressive.
And they had the van parked outside, I think, as well, didn't they?
Yes, we had the van there, having pictures with the van and stuff. I have to say that one wasn't quite as smelly as the original. But yeah, got the van, got everything, did a good job.
The originals, well, there was a few, but one of them went for about £50,000, I think.
You're kidding me.
Honestly,
really?
Sotheby's, yeah, 50,000. I think it was 44,000, yeah. And that's
going amazing.
Back
I have to tell you, the weirdest thing I have ever signed is a car door.
Chris has probably got one.
There was one signing thing where someone actually brought in a yellow car door. It's not you, Chris, is it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't me. But I've got one of the doors. That's the door, isn't it? You're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's not. No, that's not the door you sign. No, but they are on sale. Yeah.
But somebody actually came in. They stood in line and they lugged in a whole car door to sign a car door. Fantastic.
Yeah. They do the nose cone as well. You know, the front of the van, they do that as well as a wall art now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's amazing what you can get.
Chris has got everything. He's got like a Del Boy's lockup of Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, look. Oh, little Nerys.
You've got one of yourself there. I've never met you, Andree, but I'm going the convention in on the Saturday. May? I think you're there on the Saturday, aren't you?
I am with David, yeah.
So we'll see you there, yeah.
Amazing. I look forward to that.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Let's see what interesting things people... Oh, the other thing that was a weird one that I had to sign was someone had an Only Fools tattoo and they wanted me to sign above their tattoo.
Oh, wow.
Which was also bizarre and lovely. I mean, you know, signing someone's body above an Only Fools and Horses tattoo. It's like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
There's one guy who's got the whole of his back. I don't know if it's that guy he's referring to, but the whole of his back's dedicated to Fools and Horses, isn't it? He's got
I have been, a few people have shared some interesting tattoo things with me on social media. They're hilarious. I mean, that's love for the show, right? You know?
Big time. But we haven't got any, have we, Chris?
No, that's one thing. I've not got a tattoo. I've actually got my own replica van that I drive, and the bar I've got here, but I haven't got tattoos, so I don't see the bar.
Is that bar in your house, Chris? This fabulous bar
that's in my dining room. Yeah, my sort of spare room. Yeah. You can tell I'm a bachelor, can't you? But the beauty of being a bachelor, you can decorate how you want it. So
amazing.
Yeah.
There's just even seeing in the distance, there's some brilliant stuff there.
Yeah, I've got you know, like the cookie jar there, and the Tiffany lamp, and the booze dog, the pepper spring. Yeah,
I really like the elephant picture because that's quite random. That's in like early episodes of Only Fools and Horses, isn't it? I think
it is. That was actually originally sold in Boots in the 60s. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a very good cameraman, but you can see I've got all, you know, everything really. Yeah.
Amazing.
I've got the Mustafa radio, actually. That's one of my latest purchases. You know, when Jolly Boy's out and he sold that at the beginning. The coach exploded, didn't it?
That is so impressive.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've
got a mug.
Sorry?
Oh no, and I have also, there's a lovely chap who I don't know if you've seen, makes all of the scenes in Lego.
Yeah. Zaggy, we've had him on the podcast.
Oh my goodness. I've got a little tiny Nerys winging its way to me. That has made me really happy. Little mini Lego Nerys.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? He even done the whole flat in Lego. Yeah. And he made us into Lego, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, amazing how he does it, isn't it? Yeah,
terrific.
I recently got
favorite line, Andree. Was there a favorite line or favorite that you had, or?
Well, personally, I mean, I always loved. I've just had my dinner. I just thought that was such a brilliant line and also you didn't wind your window down, which is just so obvious. I think that whole scene in the car is just brilliant, you know. So many favorite lines within that episode, and I love all of the stuff. Actually, David scene in the dating agency as well, promising her a steak dinner and all that kind of stuff. Guaranteed. I know. And it's kind of funny now, isn't it, when you think how dating has moved on, and now it's all on apps and this, and he's in an office, and you know, it's just kind of rather charming, I think.
And I think he says, the dating guy says she's 35, and Del Boy goes, "She's knocking on a bit, isn't she?" You know, he's about 40 odd at the time, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. And I think what sort of lady you're looking for? Bird, I think he says, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. I like that in the van when you say, I think Rodney says, "We're going to cruise," and you goes, "What, in a 3-wheel van?" I thought that was quite a good line. But that, like you said, that whole scene is brilliant.
Well, it's all John, isn't it? It's all just John Sullivan genius. You know, just it's all sparse, concise. There's nothing wasted, and everything's just a gem. Just gorgeous.
Did you ever meet Ray Butt? Sorry, did you ever meet Ray Butt?
I did actually meet Ray Butt. Not. But it was more to do with Ray being around in the BBC bar afterwards and whatever. But that was a little before my time.
Yeah.
But he was obviously still around a little bit more as a guest rather than being on the creative side.
Yeah, he was saying that about John, that he says normally on a script there's one, maybe 2 good gags on the page. He said Fools and Horses with John, there was 6 or 7 gags on every page that were hilarious, you know. So, oh yeah.
And we've spoken before about John, like how he would not necessarily go with the flow. He'd suddenly jump in and be like, "Oh no, we'll cast this part," and that's exactly what happened to you.
Yeah.
With Lady Victoria in Royal Flush, they had all these actresses to see, and he told her that she was going to be it, and she was the first one, and she was anyway. But yeah. And he got told off for that, didn't he, Chris?
He did. It was Sarah Duncan, that, wasn't it? Yeah, she was, like you say, first one, and there was about another 9 actresses that had come down for an audition, sort of thing. So yeah, John did get told off, didn't he? That was Tony Dow that told him off. wasn't it? Something.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that, but then you put that same energy in a rehearsal room and that enthusiasm, I mean, genuinely a childlike enthusiasm. It was like, oh my God, try this. Oh, that's great. You kind of go, it was infectious. He truly was infectious, you know, and loved being around actors. Sorry, Chris.
Sorry, Andree, I've interrupted you there. He could do sadness later on as well, couldn't he, in later episodes, like when Rodney gets married and things with Simply Red.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the joy of the whole show was, I think everybody can empathise, sympathise, understand. So many situations within that, without the class and all that kind of stuff. There was so much pathos, and because those characters were so beautifully drawn, we felt we really knew them. So even when little things went wrong, I think you really, really felt for them. I did. Anyway, I kind of, you know, because they was just so beautifully drawn, you know, all of the characters. But yeah, I mean, it's made me well up on several occasions, I have to say. Yeah. And then when it, you know, when it finished, oh my God, that was like, no.
Yeah. It's a shame, isn't it, that it happens, doesn't it? And at the last episode, the episode you was in, Dates, I mean, at the end of that episode, that was sad as well, if you remember, because Del Boy gets arrested and he can't meet up with Raquel. And he's like, it's too bloody late, you know, like everything else in my life. So I think you're right. We do relate to them a lot because we know them, don't we? Because we've seen them so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that they're going to bounce back. All this stuff happens and they're going to bounce back. They're going to be okay. Nothing gets them down. So I think there's actually something rather uplifting about a lot of it as well.
Did you say that in series 6 then you may have been in more episodes of that? Was that due to other commitments or? Oh
no, not. I said I would love to have been.
Oh yeah. Oh right. So because I thought it was strange how you appeared. I think that Sickness and in Wealth is something like episode 4 or 5. I would have thought you'd have been in the whole series of that, really, because there's quite a few Nag's Head scenes, isn't there? So I was just wondering why you weren't in more of those, really.
I mean, she was originally only written for one episode. And John got me into more, and that was kind of how it happened. It wasn't anything other than the job was the job, and then it was like, oh, please, could you come back and do this? As I say, it's astonishing that for something that was just such a short period of time for a job, the legacy that it's left, you know, there's very few things that actually have that.
How long would it take to film, say? Would it take days or weeks, or how long?
Well, all of the location, taking Dates, for example. So that series was the first one that went to 50 minutes because all of the previous series were 30 minutes or TV half hours. So that was the first kind of 50 minutes in that first Christmas special. All the location stuff that we did, I think they did do some pickups just of the car in South London, but all of the location stuff was actually done in Bristol. And we were up there doing all of that location stuff over the space of 2 weeks. And then the way that everything would work, it was kind of like old school repertory. So when the BBC had a rehearsal studios in North Acton, which you guys probably know about. I think it's a Hilton now, but where North Acton Tube is, there was a rather ugly 70s, you know, building. I think it had about 15 floors. And that was the BBC rehearsal room. And every room, there would be a different show rehearsing. Canteen at the top where everybody would meet. That would be amazing at lunchtimes. You kind of stand with a tray behind Ronnie Barker or something. Fabulous. So you'd kind of turn up there, and there would be, on Monday, read through, whatever. And then it would be rehearsing for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then you go into the studio and do the pre-records on the set on Friday. And then the live studio audience came in on Saturday. And then you had Sunday off, and then it started again on Monday.
So when would that, so obviously it appeared Christmas Day, say Dates, was that film sort of October that year or before that, or what sort of time?
It was actually, so the pre-records I think were done it was November, but then everything else on the run up to that was pretty tight. to going out. It was the turnover was pretty quick, which also made it really exciting. Can you imagine turning up on Monday morning and you're reading these scripts and there's all these wonderful iconic actors, and then I just kind of sit on the floor with endless cups of tea and watch them do their magic. It was brilliant.
Yeah, you like a fly on the wall from the inside of the show, aren't you? There, yeah. Seen it from another angle, sort of thing.
And watch all of those jokes evolve.
Yeah,
you know, watch them try things out and what's going to work and what's going to not, and you know, which was brilliant.
How much was changed, like you said, from like the rehearsals? Was a lot changed, just little parts, or is it hard to remember, I guess?
No, there wasn't an awful lot of the script that was actually changed. It was to do with actions, physical jokes, what's going to work with camera angles, what's going to be funnier, what's going to be tighter, that's going to be better than this. Certain physical jokes, it was like it's written the same way, but you've got several ways of doing it. So the falling through the bar scene, that's a classic example of, you know, can you imagine being in the room watching that all come together? It was kind of like, you know,
magic.
So they were the things that evolved in the rehearsals. John would tweak, but inherently it didn't actually change that much. It would be, I mean, there'd be lots more ad-libs and little stuff from Uncle Albert and stuff with, you know, his movement and his little, you know, little things and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it was physical. It was the physical stuff.
And in the other episode that you were in, Sickness and Wealth, wasn't it, Chris?
That's right, Chris.
Yeah, with the seance scene.
Yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant episode as well, boys.
Yeah.
Knockers
off.
Knockers off, yeah. Yeah, Aubrey, wasn't it? We found out Boyce's Aubrey just before you come in. Yeah. Aubrey. I'm here. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, good episode, that. And Elsie Partridge is a medium. You better whip this dress around to her. She's a medium then, yeah. Just little.
You know all the scripts, Chris. You actually, you know all of them.
I can't believe I'm admitting this, but if it comes on UK Gold, Andree, and I hear the first line say, I can probably name the episode within the first line, which is,
wow.
Yeah, quite.
Wow.
I don't know if it's great to know or.
Yeah, we're diehards on the podcast, yeah, but we kind of have to be.
Yeah.
No, it's brilliant. It's amazing. It's just really weird when you're talking about a job where you guys can probably tell me more about it than I know myself.
I think that's when it was at its peak, though. I've said on the podcast before, I think that Series 6 and dates and Series 6 Jolly Boys Out, and I think that's when Fool's Nurse was its absolute best idea. I thought it was really, you know, it sort of gone up and up and up. It was still brilliant after that, but I think that Series 6 dates Jolly Boys, I think that's when it was really at its peak, I did.
Oh,
probably because
really
Nick and David had got the characters off to a T, hadn't they? And Buster had been in it a few years. And
I think also, as I say, because they actually were allowed to move to that 50-minute format.
Yeah, true.
So rather than just taking it out of that stereotypical sitcom remit, you know, we can have some location. It's 50 minutes. It actually gave John, you know, and David and Nick like more space to do stuff, I think. And it really, really lent itself to that, didn't it? With every episode being like a fully fledged story. So I think that's part of that as well. The fact that the 50 minutes thing happened, which was a big deal back then, because all sitcoms were half an hour.
They were, yeah. I know they did say they were chucking stuff away. Really, you know, they're having to cut it that much that some of the jokes were being thrown away. So they were saying it.
Yeah.
I think, in fact, I'm right in saying David and John went to the BBC, didn't they, and said we want to go to 50 minutes, or we're perhaps not going to do anymore because.
Apparently so. They pushed on it, and it was agreed. And what a fantastic decision that was.
It was, yeah. And also they got to add in more of the drama, didn't they? More of the sad scenes, which helped the show. I think it kind of evolved as well, the show.
I totally agree, because it was that thing where it wasn't just about bang, bang, laugh. You could actually have pathos, emotion, reality, showing more of the little stuff behind the scenes that painted those pictures of those characters. I can definitely remember the fact that there was a huge sense of excitement with all of the production team and the crew and everything, that it was going to be at 50 minutes. You know, even the props people and everything were like really into it. It felt like an acknowledgement of where they'd got to, and everyone was so excited to kind of raise the bar, which was lovely.
Were you a fan before you got the part, by the way, or did you not watch it? Or...
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I did, but I mean, as I said, I had no idea how iconic it would become at that point at all. I loved doing comedy. Do you want to go up for any Fools and Horses? Absolutely. You know, it was like, yeah, of course. When I say a fan, not like you, Chris.
You haven't got things on your walls, no, in the van outside.
No, I've got a mug.
No.
And a little Lego Nerys.
Yeah, you haven't took it to ridiculous lengths like me, no.
Not yet, but who knows? No. I might come home with a car door from the next convention. Never say never.
Mind you, I got something.
There.
I got something good recently. I don't know if you heard about this, but there was a misprint of the Queen's Jubilee plates. Have you heard about this? And
no, I haven't.
Instead of the Queen's Jubilee, it says the Queen's Jubilee.
Really?
And it's a misprint from China or wherever they made it. And at the moment, you can only buy like 1,000 of them to get them all. But I sent them an email saying, oh, could you just send me? I was only after one, and they sent me one, so I was quite chuffed with that.
Oh, well done. Oh, that's fantastic. Where is that?
I'll get it. 1 minute.
Where is it? I want to see it now.
I think they didn't just, it's weird though, you normally get a proof or something. I think they produced millions of these mugs, I think, and plates as well, with Jubilee on instead of Jubilee. It's staggering, really, isn't it?
I've never heard that before. That's really funny.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm a bit jealous of him, really. I need one of those myself. I've got a Charles and Di plate, which is from the that's from an episode, isn't it? I think he said he bought loads of these. Del Boy did, and on the Monday they'd split up or something, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, go on, Chris. Have you got it?
Yeah, I'll change the background because I don't think we'll be able to see it. Let's remove the background.
Am I right in saying there was mugs as well as plates, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was like a whole set.
And I was saying to Andree, they didn't do one or two. They did millions of these, didn't they? In mass production. That are really no good for the Jubilee. It's something Del Boy would do, isn't it? This.
There we go. That's what my house really looks like.
I preferred it before.
I'm out of the bar now. So here we go. So I don't know if you can see. It's a bit.
Oh my word!
But down there, instead of it saying the Queen's Jubilee, it says the Queen's Jubilee.
I love that.
Brilliant.
But it was great.
I love that.
I just sent them a tweet saying I only want one because you could buy 1,000 for like 20 grand or something ridiculous.
Wow.
You know, it's like a wholesale place. But yeah,
that's amazing. I'm really impressed. Wow.
That's an item I've not got. So you're up on me there, Chris, with that one.
Well, I've got that. You got everything else. So.
Well, yeah, but, I wouldn't swap. But yeah. But no, it's a nice piece though to have that, isn't it? For sure. Yeah. So you're only doing the Saturday, Andree. Not doing the Sunday for the convention, no.
No, just the Saturday on the convention. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So David's there, isn't he? And Sue Holderness.
Yes, which will be delightful.
Yeah, I think the Driscoll brothers are there on the Saturday as well.
Oh gosh, do you know what? I've got to be honest. Without actually looking at the confirmation thing, I wouldn't. I don't want to. I wouldn't.
No,
100% to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's Ray Marsden. I think's one of the Driscoll. Christopher Ryan, who I'm a bit of a fan of. Do you ever remember the young ones? He's in that, isn't he? Christopher Ryan.
Well, I've worked with Christopher Ryan.
Have you?
Yeah, we did. I did Kiss Me Kate in the West End, the RSC production, where I was Lois Lane, and Chris was one of the gangsters in it.
Right, yeah.
With Barrett Kaler. So yeah, we worked together for a year in the West End.
Oh wow! And you did. I didn't know this till recent years. British Empire you were in as well.
Yeah, I was Angie in the British Empire. There was this lovely period where it was kind of like, for most of my 20s, this huge period when I just was working at the BBC all the time. They tended to reuse people, and they'd have you back, and you know. So yeah, I had the joy of doing quite a few things at the Beeb, and the British Empire was really, really good fun too.
because is it Chris Barry that was the Mr. British?
That's right.
And he's in Red Dwarf as well, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snakehead, yeah.
Yeah.
Rimmer.
And we're all still in touch as well.
Oh, wow, really?
Tim Marriott and Harriet Thorpe and everybody. That's another like really close group of people. Yeah.
Do you
Big
find
Charles.
like with the cast of Only Fools and Horses, you're always like crossing paths, or?
Well, we do tend to with because there's, I think especially over the last, well, I did not with lockdown, but the last few years, signings, conventions, those kind of things we have. And I think the whole streaming thing has probably helped that, because it's now at a point where it's always on a platform at the moment. So it's kind of built a new generations of fan base and stuff. So yeah, we do. But also we're all actors that work in other stuff. So we do tend to meet on things that haven't got anything to do with Only Fools as well.
Yeah, I bet.
I know we always post on our Facebook. We get excited, Chris, don't we, if we see an actor on Casualty that Fools and Horses.
Yeah, we
and
do
things
really,
like
don't
that.
we?
But it's not surprising because you're actors, aren't you? You will appear in different things, but yeah,
I know it is funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I say it's the irony of when I'm sitting and chatting with you two lovely guys about a job that I did 34 years ago. It's kind of when does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, I know. Terrific.
Like you say, it's grown, hasn't it? Even more, when you were in it, it was big, but it's gone bigger and bigger as time's gone on. Really, it's become a classic, really now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's rare, isn't it, for a TV show to get that iconic status where it always lives on. I can't think of many. There's a few, but not many.
Incredibly rare. 40 Towers. I mean, they're especially, I think, for comedy series. As well, and worldwide. I mean, there's huge love in crazy places for it. Not crazy places, I'm saying, like where you would go, huh?
Yeah,
you would have thought they would have heard of it.
Yeah. I think it is pretty rare, Chris. It's kind of hard to think of, anything that's got, that much love, where people like quote the script at you.
Yeah, we can't we, Chris?
No, definitely.
It's very funny.
Some comedies date, don't they? But I don't think Fawlty Towers has dated either, actually, that you mentioned. But Fools and Horses is the same. The jokes are still fresh, aren't they? They're still funny to this day,
Yeah, they
Whereas
are.
some comedies from the 70s you watch, they're a bit dated, aren't they? They're not very, very funny. But
even the 80s.
Also, the other thing. Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing about them, there's quite a few that I think revisited that were from the 80s, early 90s or whatever, that you kind of go, that's a bit politically incorrect. That's not, but that there's none of that in Fools, really, is there? No. And the fact that, John's writing, it always has a kindness to it. There isn't any swearing. There isn't any bad intent to anything, which is also lovely. Do you know what I mean? I think that's another reason that that it hasn't dated, and that thing where people are passing it on to their kids and their grandkids. That thing where it's kind of realizing that the people that loved it when they were watching the telly, it's kind of like they're now like we're on the third generation now of going, oh, you've got to see this show.
Yeah,
kids going, oh no, what, that old nonsense, whatever, and then they get hooked. They get absolutely hooked. It's so funny.
It's quite funny, like you said, because obviously the other Chris, he watched it when he was a kid, and I watched it when I was a kid because my parents loved it, and then I watched it. And you're right, it goes down the generations, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is also lovely. Now again, not many TV shows that you can say that about, really. I don't know.
No, it beats everything because of the longevity, how funny it was. There's no, like, the only one I can think of longevity is Last of the Summer Wine, but totally different comedy. But for me, for laughters and how long it's been around, it's got to be number one.
And as we said earlier, it's not just a comedy; it's a drama as well. There's very sad moments in it. So I think John Sullivan, he was a genius, as we all know, but that's what he did so well.
He did. Thank you, John.
So what was your favourite moment as Nerys? This is a hard question, but
I think my favorite moment of actually doing the show was the first time of walking onto that set with a live studio audience there. That was definitely, you know, that thing where you suddenly go, wow, this is real. I think, gosh, it's difficult because
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really, it's so hard.
One moment.
It's so hard because there's kind of so many of them, and obviously there's so many of them like locked in that car as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like within it was days of just driving around and being in that car, and then we'd have to drive back and start again and chatting away with Nicholas, and then we'd go again. I literally have so many great memories from that.
I even love the scene at the Nag's Head when Rodney's setting up the date with you, and where Mickey Pearce really stitches him up, doesn't he? He's like, oh, she's rich, she's, you know, she likes tough guys, yeah.
Macho man.
Yeah, macho man.
Macho man. Yeah. Very funny.
Because I've seen I've seen every episode loads, and I've noticed you take I don't know if you remember this, you take a glass off Boise when you go back to the bar, and you look like you're having a bit of a laugh, really, that's not part of the script. I think he keeps hold of the glass a bit longer than he should. I don't know if you recollect that.
Yeah.
Does he? Is that right? He seems to give you a bit of stick, like, you know.
From the moment I met John Challis, he just made me laugh. He was just kind of, you know, he was kind of very paternal and a bit kind of like, gonna take care of you, Andree. You're part of the team now, kind of thing. He was very good at making people feel at ease on set, and, you know, just there was always little moments and little things that were going on which connected with other stuff. So yeah, that was very much John. Very supportive.
I just noticed that recently. He sort of keeps hold of the glass a bit longer, and you sort of give him a bit of a smirk as well, and you go back to the bar. I think it's because I've watched it that many times. I start looking at things.
You started looking at the background.
Yeah, background. Yeah, you know, yeah. It's funny what you see though. If you look, you know, not looking at the actual actors talking, you look in the background. I think I've never noticed that before. Yeah, and I noticed that with yourself. Yeah. And it was the first time we saw Trigger's blue suit, I think, wasn't it? It was. Relief Day? Yeah.
That amazing blue suit.
Iconic.
Oh my word. Oh, he was amazing. God.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've spoken about Trigger many times, of course, on the podcast, but he had some of the best lines, didn't he? By far. Yeah.
Roger was amazing. Another fantastic.
And he wouldn't laugh, would he, Roger? Was he quite deadpan? He wouldn't. Everyone else would be in fits of laughter at something he'd said, and he kept in character, didn't he, a bit?
Yeah, which of course would just make you laugh more.
Yeah.
Right? And he knew that he could do that and just get reactions from people. He worked that blue suit, I'm telling you, man. That was like, I remember it was that whole, you know how, do you remember how he walked into the bar and did that whole, like, you know, with the suit, right? The first time he came out of costume in it, he did exactly the same. He was just like
brilliant.
Yeah.
And with John Challis, he always had a lot of time for the fans, didn't he? I mean, if you look online, he would always do videos for the fans if they'd just get in touch and say, oh, can you do a happy birthday message or whatever? He was great, wasn't he?
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. What a gentleman. It was heartbreaking last year. Yeah. What a smashing bloke. I'm so delighted that he was in my life. Lucky me.
Yeah, him and Sue were brilliant, weren't they? You thought they were married, wouldn't you? The chemistry between them, I think, helped that, didn't it?
Definitely.
They went on holiday together and really close, I think, weren't they? So
I have to genuinely say, a really, really, really nice bunch of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people say this all the time, but I'm still in touch with the production designer, the person who was the third assistant director. There was a real, just lovely people who were just lovely, you know?
Yeah.
Part of what makes it so good, I think, because everybody was kind of wanted it to just be the best that it could.
Like a family atmosphere, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds corny to say it, but it genuinely did feel like that, yeah.
Did you keep your scripts or anything, or any of your costumes, or do you have any sort of? You did.
Chris is after it.
Yeah.
I can't have it, Chris.
Oh, all right, worth a try.
You can't have it.
No, okay.
Oh gosh, you imagine how many people have asked me, "Have you got the script? Have you got the red top? Have you got the earrings? Have you?" It's like,
yeah.
I have. That's it.
Some haven't though. Surprising though, some haven't. Have they, Chris? That we
no, because we've asked that question a lot. Especially the other Chris. No, we both have. We both asked that question. And only a couple of people. The most famous one, do you remember the Jumbo Mills? Do you remember that character where he loses his wig? Do you remember that one?
He wears a wig.
Yes.
He kept his original wig from the show and he wore it for years apparently, and then he just got rid of it. But
oh wow.
I thought that was quite something, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he said that it cost, I mean, we're talking 1986, it cost about £700. And I think he said, didn't he, Chris, can I keep this or do you want it back? And they said, look, it's not going to fit anybody else. And I think his words were, I used to wear it going out, and he said I was quite successful with the ladies with it on or something.
That's so funny. Isn't that funny?
But lots of people didn't keep memorabilia or stuff from the show, probably because they couldn't, but also back then it wasn't necessarily the thing to do. I don't know.
Well, no, I think it's also to do with the fact that I mean, I would have loved to have had, the sweatshirt that I wore, the Nag's Head sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would love to have had that. That I couldn't have. I mean, it's obviously they have their costume store and they have to keep everything, for continuity, all that kind of thing. But it was the red top. There were several of them. So the idea of being able to be given one because they've got four, was lovely. The scripts I saved. I did try to get a sweatshirt, but I wasn't allowed to have one.
No, you did well. I think you did well, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. They do sell them sweatshirts. I've not got one myself. They do sell them on eBay, those, don't they? I know it wouldn't.
Yeah, I know, but that's not. With all due respect to the lovely sellers on eBay, that isn't the one that was
authentic.
Used, what I mean?
No,
it's not what you wore.
No.
Yeah, that's why you're attached to it.
Which I think was, I think it was Fruit of the Loom, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because Mike didn't wear the Nag's Head sweatshirt loads. He did wear it, but not in every episode. He would only wear it now. He wore a blue one as well a few times, I think, as well as the black one. But yeah.
I wouldn't be able to help what Mike wore in every episode. Another actor that I worked with a lot afterwards, we actually did, I don't know if you know that Mike did a brilliant Max Miller show about the life story of Max Miller.
Okay.
And I was in that with him. So he's another one that I worked with, yeah.
Oh yeah, Mike was great.
Yeah, Ken McDonald. He did the beer mat, didn't he? On the nose, was it? And he'd say, "Who threw that?" He'd put it on his nose, the beer mat, cut a bit out and put it on his nose and go, "Who threw that?" To warm the audience up, apparently. So I was told, yeah. So, but yeah,
he had some great lines as well, didn't he? As the barman, I mean, really funny. And as we've spoken before about when Del and Rodney get the millions, when he says, "On the house, Del," that's a great line, isn't it? When they finally get the money. Quite
emotional, isn't he? I noticed in that one, yeah, quite. But they all were, weren't they? They got a standing ovation, didn't they, in that episode when they won the millions with the watch?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to Google how many people actually saw your dates episode, but I can't actually find that. I know 24.3 watched the final episode, but I would imagine 20 million plus probably watched your episode.
On the Christmas one?
Yeah.
It was just under 25 million. It was 24.8 something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think it was the highest at that point, the highest rated Christmas special. It was astonishing. I mean, obviously there were only how many channels at that point? It's different now.
Before, wouldn't there? Yeah, there'd be four channels, wouldn't there, I think? Because Channel 5, I don't think was then around then, was it? Channel 4 was.
In a way, it makes it more special because that won't ever be beat, like the last Only Fools and Horses episode, the original last episode, that's very unlikely to be beaten now, isn't it? Like, people stream things, they don't watch things live as much.
Oh, exactly. But I should imagine if you were to do how many people have actually watched it, if it was in the repeats.
Yeah, it'd be a lot.
It would be quite a lot, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, they would have videoed it that day, wouldn't they, perhaps, and watched it later. They should count, really, shouldn't they? But they wouldn't because,
Yeah. And also, YouTube and, streaming services and all that. Yeah, they're all available now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is good.
Definitely.
So what are you up to now, Andree?
I'm in my kitchen. No,
yeah, no, I mean like
Very good.
acting, or what you doing?
I am.
These days?
Whereas at the moment I've been doing quite a lot of voiceover work, which has been lovely and a lifeline through the whole lockdown stuff. So that's kind of one thing I've been doing. Most recently, stage-wise, working with Stephen Burkoff. I don't know if you've heard of him, rather brilliant writer-director, which has been great. Very sadly, I was supposed to be doing a feature film about a month ago, and I tested positive for COVID and I couldn't do the film.
Oh no.
I know, these things happen. Our industry is a bit weird at the moment. So yeah, lots of voiceovers is what I've been up to.
But you have to adapt, don't you? I mean, it's like with the podcast, we've been doing lots of these Zoom interviews, which people didn't use Zoom before the pandemic, did they really?
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All over the phone or whatever. But yeah, it's good to adapt.
Definitely.
We saw, well, Chris shared a video of you doing some press ups earlier or something, and we were very impressed because I was thinking I could do about one or two, you know.
You did it to Only Fools and Horses theme tune.
Andree. This was in your honour.
Yeah, brilliant.
So this is me on Instagram. On Instagram, every so often, just having a laugh, I do my musical theatre press ups. So it's kind of like, you know, doing press ups to my favourite show tunes. And then because it's like doing the podcast with you, I've done a couple of interviews, the convention coming up, there's been all of this Only Fools thing going on. So I thought, I'll just do it to the theme tune.
Why not? You have to do Hooky Street. I think you did it to Stick a Pony, didn't you? So you have to do it to Hooky Street next time, the end song. Yeah,
the problem is I don't even know if they'll leave the video up there because of the rights to the song.
Copyrights.
Even though I bought it.
Yeah, I know.
I was in it,
isn't it? Well, I'll tell you a little trick, because I'm a DJ as well. You just need to speed it up a little bit or slow it down a bit, and then you'll be all right. It works then.
But yeah, so yes, it was me doing my press ups to Only Fools and Horses theme tune because of all the Only Fools stuff that's going on at the moment. I just thought I'd have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's in Bedford, isn't it? The convention, I think, in May the 21st, Saturday 21st of May. Yeah,
well remembered. Saturday 21st of May. Yeah, I think it's completely sold out though, from what I've heard.
Yeah, Chris did well. He got tickets. I'm going to this event in Hastings, which should be quite good. And September the 11th, it's at the sports bar there, and you got Cassandra, Raquel, a lot of the other actors. So yeah, that was my second choice. But no, it's great. All these events happen, isn't it?
And it looks like there's going to be quite a few this year. Actually, there's a certain appetite and love for
very popular.
Yeah.
Oh, the convention had sold out, I think, in 10 minutes or something daft like that.
You're kidding me.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Wow.
They could have probably, sold it 10 times over, couldn't they?
My word, gosh, that's very impressive, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I know, Chris, you wanted to go to this one because you didn't go to the one just before lockdown, did you? So you wanted to meet Sir David and lots of the other cast.
That's right. Yeah, it's the first time Sir David had been at the convention a couple of years ago. So I was thinking, if I missed the boat, will he do another one? But he has. So yeah, I thought I'm going to have to.
Oh no, I'm absolutely thrilled. I can't wait. I can't wait to see David. It'll be lovely.
Great. Well, it's been
lovely jubbly.
It will be lovely jubbly. Yeah, it's been great having you on, Andree.
Oh, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Chris. It's been really lovely chatting to you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. You take care.
You too.
And you, Andree.
Bye-bye.
Thanks now. Bye.